Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Futures Club podcast, where we come to chill and get our minds right. I am Judith Daniel, your host and owner of Juju Star Productions LLC, where we have an array of products designed to help and encourage and uplift and push you forward in life. If you want to know more, go ahead and click that link. But for now, sit back and enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. All right, so here we go. We want to just get right to the meat of things, because I myself think this is one of the most important discussions we'll have, because this is the one that lingers after someone has given up their turn. And this is the one that is most hard to overcome and kind of come to grips with, because just like when we're living in our past and we didn't get a why then, there may not, or probably will not, or can never be an answered why. So then that's why, our heart gets a little bit more down. Our mind can start to fluctuate on reality, or, we start to blame ourselves and we start to kind of go into this funk, and then we ourselves may become depressed, right? And we may, it's kind of like a full circle when we live in the past, but sometimes it's a little harder to come forward to the future and let that go than others, especially when your loved one, be they young, old, middle-aged, doesn't matter, male or female, doesn't matter. When they come to the notion or the thought and then actually proceed to go through with that thought, and then the ending result is them giving up their turn, that in and of itself is quite the mental debacle for everyone involved. Fights can happen amongst themselves. Marriages can fall apart. Siblings can be stuck if that person was their rock, or just even if they loved them. We all around us feel a sense of guilt. So for the ones who have already had someone else give up their turn, I'm hoping that maybe there are some topics that I'll bring up today, and they will, I don't even want to say they're going to give you peace, but maybe they'll give you an understanding. And then, just help you to be proactive. And it's really hard to talk about, for the simple fact that sometimes the truth of the situation hurts and stings, and sometimes we're still left with, but that doesn't answer it though. That's not what I was looking for. That's not what I had in my mind for the solution to be. And the thing about it is that we have our own minds. And hopefully we'll use our own minds and come to correct conclusions. But that also depends on our point of reference. And how long has this issue of what has been bothering us been going on? So it could have been going on for quite some time that you never really knew about it because no one ever really spoke up on. Or it could have been something new that, hey, I'm curious. Hey, this is happening. What do I do? kind of situations. So this is not me telling you that you should have done things differently. We don't know. I don't know. This is not me convicting you myself, because pain is pain. This is me trying to add a help in you being proactive. Because if you don't understand the real issue, there will never be a real solution. And only you know in your situation how it went. Now, I have an outsider's perspective looking in on different situations, accumulating it as a whole, analyzing the data, and then coming to a conclusion. You will understand for your specific situation. And maybe if you haven't had anyone around you in your life heard of personally giving up their turn, and I'm using air quotes in that because we know what it means, then maybe you can kind of keep your eyes open and make sure, come back to this as many times as you can. And make sure that, you're just being a little more diligent in today's climate and the situations that arise and the epidemic with giving up your turn that's going on. And you can hopefully have an impact of taking that option off the table. So, I also, before I get there, let me say this. Statistically, it shows that when a female states, that there's something wrong and they're thinking about giving up their turn because A, B, and C, or X, Y, and Z are the reason, we tend to have that be a cry for help. Okay? And we want someone to step in. We want people we don't know what to do. Help. Help. Okay? Now, it's not that they're not serious about it, but they would more want someone to talk to them, to step in, to give the right answers that we may not have, but at least talking about the situation and understanding or empathizing what's going on. And having good advice that follows up and not judgmental advice that follows up. Normally, we as parents give our opinion based on what we've been through, and we can see things as normal, abnormal, or ridiculous. And we don't want to accidentally give off that ridiculous notion when someone is coming to us and saying, hey, I need help. I'm thinking about this. That is when we would allow a professional to step in and to work how they work. Because that person can be that mediator who's not biased on either side, who can actually give good advice because of the many repetitious things that they have been through when dealing with this. Sometimes we as parents do not have the answers that we think we should have. So we need to delegate that responsibility to someone who does, someone who can help, someone who has procedures and different things set up when something looks like, okay, it's mild. Okay, we're getting a little more severe. Okay, we are at a level red, and these things need to take place. So there can be various reasons Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back a little bit. I was just seeing that one side. When it comes to a male, and here's where my issue of giving adequate help is not so reliable. First of all, when it comes to a male and they are going through the idea of giving up their turn, men are naturally, when I make a decision, I'm going to go through with it because my mind is made up about that thing. You understand? When they come to a conclusion, that is the road they're going to take. So it's a little more severe right away when a male starts speaking of, and I don't even think there's a regulated age gap, like from a young male child to an elderly male. They have this instinctual, this underlying habit of nature. When they come to a conclusion, that's what it is. So, will they reach out for help? Will they say this is bothering us or me or, however it goes? Possibly, possibly. But it may not be how a female would say that. Like they just their emotional level doesn't always recommend that they cry out for help first. Their subconscious usually says, we can handle it. And then if that ego steps in, you see what I mean? So if a male should happen to say any phrases leading to a thought of, I don't think they're okay, take them serious immediately. Because however much courage, however much thought went into them actually speaking up and saying something, it took a lot. And depending on the result they get from when they say that little thing, which it's not little in, it's in a few words. Let me say it that way, because it's by no means a small gesture. Okay. So when they say it, the few words that they do say regarding how they are feeling, take it serious immediately. Because we don't know what it took for them to get to that point. And they could very well be at that breaking point. So depending on the response they get from making that gesture, lets them know exactly what the next step will be. And to the abusive women, that happens to be in a man's life, because there are those too. We as women, little girls, females, elderly women, are not the only ones being abused. This can be on either side. So, to the abusive women who think that men are not allowed to cry, who thinks that it makes them look weak to show emotion, who say things only to get that response or push the buttons or to be disrespectful, I would ask the question, why? Why is it so important to you to put someone else down? Why do you think that it's okay for you to belittle someone because they're not responding to situations as you would respond to situations? Why do you feel like that's okay? And if no one has ever told you before, it's not okay. It's not okay to abuse anyone. And men, more often than not, get abused verbally and emotionally to the points of, I just want to give up my turn. And that can also happen in situations when we are dealing with the mother of our children. Let's say if I'm speaking from a male's perspective, where the mother of that child is relentless on causing harm to that man due to her feelings being hurt, her no longer being the choice that he would like to pursue for a wrong he may have caused her, and he is now going to pay for it forever. What is going on in our minds where we believe that it's justified, that it's okay, first of all, and that we have the right to do those things? It's not okay. We don't have the right to do those things. And we should not try to commit someone to everlasting torture because our feelings were hurt. That means that you are mentally unstable and you need some help, and that child should probably not be in your custody for the safety of that child. Because as we know, it's hard to change our ways. And what is happening to that child when that other parent is not there? Are they being mentally abused as well? Are they being emotionally abused as well? Because what if that child looks like their father? Just some extra things I wanted to throw out there. But I mean, we all have a perspective that might not be quite right. And my goal is to take the option of giving up your turn off the table and to help everyone come to the conclusion of how powerful they are. And that this life will still be lifing for us all. And sometimes we are not the choice. Sometimes people change their minds with a hard left. You understand? Like, there has to be something that you've anchored yourself in so that if that happens, your sanity still remains. I am in no way, shape, or form a mental therapist of any kind. I am a life coach, and I reroute with your help for your particular situation, you to get back on the road that you want to be on. I help you think, come to conclusions, understand your whys, figure out your power level, and then increase it so that you understand for this next step forward where you're going, why you're going to get there, and therefore you have less chance of falling off course again. A licensed therapist helps with the undermined mental issues that we cannot figure out on our own and help you to lead to a place where you can make positive, responsible, and healthy choices for your future. As well as getting you stabilized in the mind. I can't exactly speak for them because I'm not them, but I know that the ones that really care about their patients, which is a lot of them, you guys, don't automatically think when you go and talk they don't care about me, because they chose that profession for a reason, and it wasn't because it was easy money. Being a mental strategist being someone who can bring you off that ledge and into an aha moment in order to give you the ability to make positive choices and want to move forward, they do that very well. That is nothing to be ashamed of. That is nothing to take lightly, because they do want to help you. But it comes down to us being able to receive. Because why? Because the truth sometimes hurts. But when we can open up and say, okay, I want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Or let me say that in a different way. I want nothing but the whole truth. So help me, God. Please help me, God. You see how the inflection on different words can take a completely different meaning? In the same way, when someone is coming with us or to us with these notions, let's change the inflection on the word to be a little more kind, to take it a little more serious initially. And everything that you would want to say, all the compassion you would want to give in that moment. Don't let it be a misunderstanding in that moment. Love and love for real. Have compassion and have it for real. And then if it's going beyond a level that you understand how to handle, take the initiative. Get help. There's no need to wait. And make sure the ones that are in your circle, you're checking on regularly. You're talking to. Those that you call friends, be a friend for. You know? Those that you say you care about, care for them. So we're going to go through just a couple of things that may be a reason why someone would not speak up. Fear of repercussions. So, and I want to leave this open-ended. I'm not going to give you my thoughts behind everything, because I want you to come to a conclusion of what this means for me in my situation. Okay, and the ones who are really listening, I want your voice to be the loudest voice of why. But here's a little dash of maybe. Is this happening in your household, with your friend, with your whomever, right? You will be the judge and come to the conclusion yourself. But maybe this might be a reason. So, fear of repercussions, meaning that people fear negative consequences or punishment if they voice their concern, such as retaliation, rejection, or being labeled as a troublemaker. You see? There could be a rejection. And maybe that goes to that abusive relationship situation. And they're saying adverse things. And you're like, but I need help with this. I'm just, and they're saying adverse things. And why are you always doing this? And blah, 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 right? That could be a reason people haven't spoke up. Lack of confidence. Individuals that might lack confidence in their own judgment or feel uncertain about the ability to effectively communicate their concerns, they don't know where else to go from there. Because, of course, they want to speak up. But how do they speak up? Lack of confidence, right? Social pressure, conformity, and the desire to fit in can discourage individuals from speaking up, especially when others seem to accept or ignore the issue. Power dynamics. Unequal power dynamics within a group or organization can deter people from speaking out, particularly if those in authority are responsible for or complicit in the problem. The bystander effect. When multiple people witness a problem, each individual may assume someone else will address it, leading to a diffusion of responsibility and collective silence. Situation in a high school. We're sitting all there. Someone is being bullied. My friends are there. I'm there. Other people are there. No one speaks up on my behalf to stop the bully from doing what they're doing. No one cares. Everyone ignores the issue. But I'm the one who felt the pain. But if it's out in the public, out in the open like that, and no one says anything, why in the world would I say anything? Because I already see how they feel about it. I already see what's going to happen. That's the reason why sometimes they don't speak up. Normalization of the issue. Over time, individuals may become desensitized to certain problems, accepting them as part of the status quo, and failing to recognize the need for intervention. Uncertainty of impact. People may question the effectiveness of speaking up and whether their actions will truly make a difference. Fear of being judged. Individuals may worry about how others perceive them if they raise concern. Lack of trust. If there's a lack of trust in the system or the individuals responsible for addressing the issue, people may hesitate to voice their concerns, believing that nothing will change. Cultural or organizational norms might be a reason someone won't speak up. Because some cultures or organizations may discourage, they prioritize maintaining harmony, discouraging individuals from speaking up and challenging status quo. That's a hard one. That's one we find a lot in our royal colored community. And there's a lot of abusive language that goes on that we can't even address. Because why? Because who are you talking to? What did I tell you to do? Why are you acting like that? Those are the responses that we get. In my, let's take it back to my, to take it off of anyone else who might be going through that, let's just say it's my family. So you can see how those things, those words, those notions would have a negative impact. And it's important to note that these reasons are not exhaustive. And that individuals may have their unique motivations for staying silent. So kind of run it against your dynamics of life, of what's, going on, depending who the person is to you. It could be a family friend. It could be a friend. It could be a child. It could be a parent. So creating a safe and inclusive environment that encourages open communication can help address those barriers and promote a culture of speaking up. We can't change the game unless we change the game. So I understand that this conversation might have been a little more heavier than others. And I want to get back to a point that I did not discuss earlier, is when we are talking about, and this always gives me concern, because as humans, we are built a certain way internally, right? Our brain is wired away and is very different from male and from female. And it always gives me concern just because of what I do. If a person needed help in such a way to take this option off the table, to help them from giving up their turn, and they are transgender, meaning they decided that it was better for them to live a life as this certain human being rather than the one they came as, right? Now, and I don't know the levels. I would love to have a talk with an expert on this subject, as I am not. And that's what makes me antsy of how is it best to communicate. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? I'm trying to get there, but I'm still wrapping my mind around this issue. If you have a person that was born male, decided, okay, I'm going to be female, but their brains are still as of a male, they just happen to like feminine things. When they, if they should, cry out for help, what tactics are we taking that would help to bring about a positive solution for them individually? Because even if I want to be a male, even if I take hormones to become a male, even if I have a gender reconstruction surgery because I want to live a full life as a male, and I am hoping to get all the benefits of being male, yet I was born female. My mental makeup is female. My from birth deposited tendencies are female. How do we break through and treat that? Because as I stated before, when there's a female who's in a situation, their first reaction is just cry for help. When there's a male that is in that same situation, their first reaction is, I can take care of this myself. That is where the dangerous lines lie for me. And when I watch certain interviews, when I see certain transgender people speaking, I still see the mentality of a man. I still see the tendencies when they may have conformed into womanhood, right? So it's like, do we treat them upon the status of their brain, or do we treat them upon their physical makeup? And that's a hard question to answer. Because in reality, or let's say hearing that perspective out loud, it's like, oh, it's a clear choice. But then when you move into the realm of actually speaking one-on-one with that transgender male or that transgender female, people can get caught up in what they see. And then they start redirecting what could have been a beneficial conversation to conform to that person's gender, which may not do them any good. So my question is, and again, like I said, I'm not a mental health expert. I am a life coach who has done extensive research. In order to help you move in the right direction, I wanted to be prepared to give you everything you needed. And I thought it would be best to be able to understand situations to give you the best direction to help you move forward, right? But I am not a licensed professional mental health practitioner. So I cannot help in the capacity that a professional mental advocate could, be it an LPN, a counselor, a therapist, those types of things. But it does concern me because I want to do what I do to the best of my ability. So that part scares me. Because if I'm not having a face-to-face session with you and I don't ask the questions, are you male or female? Because it's none of my business. I take it as face value. One thing I need you to understand, though, is we can only have the realest solutions to the fullness of the problem that's given. So I understand that if all the information is not divulged, is not given, I can only give you information on what has been given. So if you run across this video, you want to do a life coaching session with me, know that everything is confidential. You'll never see my students for the Futures Club in any video. We don't record those things. We don't use it for promotional anything. It's just me doing the best I can to tell you what I have available. Why? Because that's not my story to tell. That's if they feel comfortable, their story to tell. And I have no problem with them coming to a full understanding and they don't want to share because maybe we had a hard journey to cover. Like we really went through some work. And building confidence is not easy and it doesn't happen overnight. It happens with consistency. So I know that the ones who have spoken up, who have said, hey, I would like a life coaching session. I want to see, what do we do? I know that it takes a lot of courage to even do that, to want to do better, because the normal says stick to what you've already been doing. You see? And I would never want to jeopardize anyone's feelings of maybe they're doing this in secret, but they know they want better for themselves. And then I put it on blast. And then what? You see? So that is never my intention. That will never be my intention. That will never be a marketing feat that I do in that capacity. Now, for my acting students, I'm trying to give them all the exposure in the world. But when it comes to the heart, when it comes to your mind, I find those things sacred. And I want to respect that to the fullest. So you'll never see a commercial with my students saying, I went through the program and this happened. Or I went through the program and I liked it, didn't like this. It's up to them to tell their own story. That's not my job. But the Lord will bring to me those that need to be brought to me. And I will reach out and say, hey guys, this is what I do. I might can help. Possibly. I've done a lot of research. I've sat back and thought about things. I've analyzed the data. If you want to see, come and see me. That's as far as I'm going to go. Because again, I'm assured in what I can do. And this is a journey of one. So if you're feeling like I would love the opportunity to at least just see, maybe this is good for me, maybe it might not be, but I don't know, but it sounds like this is something I want to do, then let me know that. And I do a free 90-minute consultation, 90 minutes. And I ask you some questions. And then we sit down and discuss those questions. And we see if we are a good fit for each other. So those personal, private life coaching sessions are also available. And this is not a therapy session. This is us discovering you and your road you want to take and getting you on that correct path. Yes, I've done a lot of research. Yes, I might hint that I know what I'm talking about. Yes, I tried to make myself as aware as possible of what's going on before I speak, because this is a very sensitive subject. And because I want to do my best for you. But I know on the professional therapist side of things, they have a different sort of approach. I managed a mental health facility for just a little while. I loved the strategy that we had in place so that when they leave the building, it's just a conversation. And they get to sit with what just happened instead of being interrupted by paperwork or something else, or seeing my face for whatever reason. Because I wanted them to know how important that is. And I wanted the therapist to have the opportunity to be the last one they spoke with before that little interruption comes, and they get to ponder on it a little longer without interruption. So we had a very good system. And again, I still cannot do her job or perform her job, but I can do this. And I can do it in a way that you feel powerful and more comfortable within you. So if you go to my website and you say, I don't know if I'm ready to be a part of the big group, but that would be lovely to have you. I just want to point that out, because it's not just me bringing something to the table, but maybe your questions can be answered by someone else who has, it's just a crazy, wonderful thing when we all get together. Such a good time. So many aha moments. So many tears. And to be able to be your honest and true self and know that it doesn't go any further than right there. When we have that trust, it works out for the best. And that's my whole goal, is making things, helping things, reorganizing things in the mind, helping you to help yourself to have the best outcome you could have. If that is something you want to do. Again, I give it away for free at first so that we can see if we're a good fit. No reason to waste your money on something that you don't think is going to work for you, right? But most are like, this will definitely work for me. But again, because your voice is the most powerful, I want you to come to your conclusions. Because you are intelligent. You know what you want. And you can see the opportunity in front of you. I lay it out. And then we can move forward if you say so. Because the ball will forever be in your court. Everybody take a deep breath now. I know that was a little heavy. But a lot of people steer away from the other side of someone giving up their turn. Because they're afraid to place the blame on anyone, or for anyone to feel like, oh, it was my fault. But I say, let's be proactive. Let truth be truth. And if there's something that needs to change, let it change so that there can be better outcomes. So I have to eat something. I'm hungry. And I want you to smile. And I want you to understand that it's okay for things to be hard. It's okay to not know exactly what to do, or to have made a wrong decision. I probably won't be making them for the rest of my life, according to what new information I learn. And then I try to do something with it, and it's like, oh, that was not the move. So this life is going to be life in. And that's okay too. Because through trial and error, we can figure out what to do next time. And that's how we learn. It's never a failure. It's a learning opportunity. So to my royal fam, take a deep breath. It was a little heavy because I know you had thoughts that conjured up in your mind. I'm here. If you need to talk, if you're ready to take that road, if you want to see, if you're curious, I would rather you take a look, we go through that process, and then you've decided, okay, it's not for me, because then at least you tried, or at least you sought out the information to see for yourself. And then if we do that, and then you're like, oh, this is definitely where I need to be, we can move forward in that capacity as well. So again, any questions, anything that I didn't hit on and go deep into was on purpose. But if you have any questions, please say something. If you are feeling a certain type of way, please say something. And believe it or not, the people around you actually do care. But this world be worlding, so it may look like they don't. But unless you say something, you will never know. And if you can't speak to them, you can go to my resources page where we have an array of resources available to get you the help that you desire. That page is put there by people who are saying, hey, if whatever, please send them to me. Please let them know we're here. Please let them know what we do. And I get emails all the time saying, I love your program. We ran across your stuff. Can we put our link up there too? Yes, you can. If it is for what we are discussing, and if it is to get people help and it's universal, and once I look through the information and I, take that final step to decide, it's not an employee, it's not someone else who decides the yes or no's. I take that responsibility upon myself. So, with that being said, I hope you can understand how passionate I am about what I do. And if you need it, if you want it, just to be a better you, and you don't know the exact steps to take or the strategy to get there, reach out to me, let me know, and I will definitely do my best. Until next time, deuces. As always, thank you for joining us again for another episode. We hope you enjoyed yourself, but the best way to know is if you leave a comment or you send me a message and you actually let me know. If you have any questions, I would love to be able to answer those on the next episode, so go ahead and leave me that as well. But until next time, just know you are worth it to be wherever you want to be.